Blog Talk Radio.
Hi everybody, this is Daniel Gray. I am the Trailer Park Prophet, broadcasting live from Crestone, Colorado on Blog Talk Radio. This is Local Friday. Thank you everybody for being here. Hope everyone is surviving the holidays. Thank God today is Friday. Just got to get through the weekend and then New Year's, and we can set sail for 2014. And what a year that's going to be. Just thinking about the elections. But we don't want to get into that. I do have a lot of stuff I want to talk about. I'm telling you, we have some very interesting things going on in this country. Absolutely interesting. And this is going to be the lead story today. You know how we've been talking about that new game called Knockout? And it's been going on now for about 3 months. And Knockout, in case you don't know, is a game that black teens have been playing. And they come up on somebody from behind and then take them out. Cold cock them. All right? Knockout game. And the idea is to knock them out. And a lot of these white victims, they're white people now, are getting knocked out by black kids. In fact, we've chronicled something like 30 of them across the country, maybe even more. But at least there's been at least 20 old white people knocked out by black youths. And we've been screaming here at the Trailer Park Prophet about how come the lamestream media isn't doing this story. I mean, you would think a organized activity of assault would garner the attention of the local press and the lamestream media, but it hasn't. It really hasn't. I mean, there's been some mention, but nothing like the attention that a lot of us felt the story deserved. And so here comes this kid, a white kid, knocks out an old black man. You know, that's just horrible. I mean, I'm upset to even have to report this story. But this kid says here in April 2011, wow, so this goes way back. Oh, wait a minute, I lost this story. But at any rate, here's the story. I don't know where this kid's from. I just had a jump here on the page. But he's a white kid. He's a teenager. I've seen his picture. And allegedly, he actually knocked out an old black guy. And what the big story is that now this attack is in the media everywhere. It's getting a media blitz. This story about a white kid knocking out a black man. Elderly black man. And the Department of Justice has already filed a case against this white guy and filed as a hate crime. And that's the most serious crime that you could probably file in this day and age. But the DOJ's getting involved. And let's see, let's get some more details. It says it was in April 2011. They had to go all the way back there. An elderly St. Louis man was attacked by a mob of black youths playing the knockout game while walking home from a grocery store with his wife. They killed him. In June 2011, a group of black youths beat a gay man bloody. Wow, I didn't hear this one before. And they were playing the knockout game. Wow, I didn't know they beat a dead guy or beat a gay guy bloody. August 11th, black teen mobs targeted St. Louis cyclist in knockout game. September 2011, a 73-year-old St. Louis man knocked unconscious just outside the Tower Grove Park. One local teen claims to have knocked out over 300 people. One teen. That's insane. Quayne J. Thomas of St. Louis pleaded guilty January 8th, 2013 in a 2011 knockout game attack on a man in St. Louis. Yesterday, the racially challenged Obama Department of Justice charged a white Texas man in a knockout game attack on a 79-year-old black man. Oh my God. It makes you want to cry. But yet, of course, the story is that this has been going on. Black youths have been knocking out white people, and now we have this one situation, and it's getting all this attention. Here, I got the other story. I thought that was a story about this. Yeah, here it is right here. This is from Conservative Outfitters, and I'm assuming this story's all over the place because people are talking about it on social media. And it says here, this story's from CNN. A man has been charged with a federal hate crime in connection with what authorities say was a racially motivated knockout assault against an elderly black man, the U.S. Justice Department said Thursday. Now, here's the guy's name. It's Conrad Allen Barnett, 27, of Katy, Texas, has been charged with one count of violating Now, what is this? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay, Jesus. I thought for a minute there I was having an out-of-body experience. Let me reread this. I got thrown off because this law is named the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crime Prevention Act. And that's what this Conrad Allen Barnett was charged with. I didn't know it had their name in the title. But in case you don't know, Matthew Shepard and James Boyd Jr. were two gay kids in Wyoming, and I believe Matthew Shepard got beat to death and left on a barbed wire fence, and James Boyd, I don't know if he was another gay guy there or what the deal was. But anyway, this guy Conrad Barnett was charged underneath this statute, which is a hate crime statute, basically, meaning that it wasn't an act of self-defense or random kind of thing. It was deliberate. It was planned out. And that's why this is a real bad charge, a real tough rap. I mean, the police really feel like there was hate involved, that hate was the motivation, and in the eyes of the law, that makes it an even more heinous kind of crime. It says here, according to federal complaint, Barnett attacked a 79-year-old man because of the man's race and color. That was in quotes. He will next appear in court Friday afternoon for a detention hearing. Now, we still haven't heard when this was. The suspect made a video of the attack November 24th. The complaint said in the video he allegedly committed that, quote, the plan is to see if I were to hit a black person, would this be nationally televised? End of quotes. I mean, that's psycho territory. He allegedly hit the man with such force that the man immediately fell to the ground. Barnett then laughed and said, "Knockout," as he ran to his vehicle and fled. The victim suffered 2 fractures and was hospitalized for days. The complaint said Barnett's attorney, George Parham, told CNN the affidavit does not pull back the layers of mental health, end of quote. His client has bipolar disorder and takes medication. Parham, the attorney, said in an earlier call. Parham said he could not state whether his client carried out the attack, but, quote, mental health issues definitely played a part in anything that occurred, end of quote. So I guess we all see the defense. Barnett is very sorry for his person. Parham said, he's very sorry for this person, Parham, the attorney said, adding that he and his client haven't had much opportunity to discuss the facts of the case. The knockout game is an assault in which an assailant aims to knock out an unsuspecting victim with one punch from behind, generally. According to the Justice Department complaint, there have been knockout game incidents, some of which have been called other names as long ago as 1992. Charming. New York police previously charged suspect Maja Amnet with a hate crime in the alleged attack of a white Jewish man as part of a knockout game. Similar cases have been reported recently in several states, including Illinois, Missouri, and Washington. Quote, hate crimes tear at the fabric of the entire community. Amen. U.S. Acting Assistant Attorney General Jocelyn Samuel said Thursday in a Justice Department statement announcing the charge against Barnett. As always, the Civil Rights Division will work with federal and state law enforcement partners to ensure that the hate crimes are identified and prosecuted and that justice is done. Barnett, who is white, allegedly recorded himself on a cell phone attacking the man and showed the video to others. The department said, quote, the complaint alleges Barnett made several videos, one in which he identifies himself and another in which he makes a racial slur in addition. Oh, great. Barnett had allegedly been working up the courage to play the knockout game for approximately a week, so it's premeditated. That was a word I was trying to think of earlier. It says the victim's face was swollen on one side and he has had to use a straw to drink, a nephew, Joseph Lewis, told CNN. The station reported that Barnett faces up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine if convicted. Barnett told an off-duty police officer what happened and shared a video saying he felt bad, the affidavit said. So at least there was some contrition. In the other videos on his phone that police confiscated, Barnett used the N-word and said that African Americans, quote, haven't fully experienced the blessing of evolution, end of quote. Oh, great. According to the criminal complaint, it is unimaginable to this day and age that one could be drawn to violently attack another based on the color of their skin, said Special Agent in Charge Stephen Morris of the FBI Houston office. Quote, we remind all citizens that we are protected under the law from such racially motivated attacks and encourage everyone to report such crimes to the FBI. Well, what about all the white people that have been hit by black kids? It's like that never happened in the eyes of the Obama Justice Department. What happened to the 10th Amendment, I think? Equal protection under the law. Obviously, there's not equal protection under the law. If you're black and you're subject to a hate crime, it'll be prosecuted. But if you're white and subject to a hate crime by a black gang, that won't be prosecuted. And I guess this is a basic FU to the American people. That's what this is by the Obama administration. They're basically telling people, look, we're going to only enforce the laws we want to, and we feel like white people are indebted to black people like an original sin, and we want to punish as many white people as we possibly can for the sake of retribution. I mean, that's really what it is. But it's a real affront, as I see it. It's like in your face, man. This is President Obama giving America the bird. To hell with you people. And the only ones that have been talking about this knockout game where the blacks are knocking on the whites are the people on the internet. The lamestream media doesn't report on those crimes. So, I mean, here's the president telling you, look, I got the press on my side, and I don't give a damn what you think. If you're white and you get knocked out by a black gang, too bad. Screw you. You're paying for the sins of past white people. They're gringo, cracker. I mean, it really is an affront. It's an insult. You know, if there were, I could just see professors and intellectuals having a little clutch party, you know, having a little booze party, and pointing out this specific situation that I just described to you, and just howling, laughing. Isn't that funny what Obama did to those white people? He sure showed them it's all right in America to knock out a white person. But boy, any white person try that to a black person, then they're going to get the Obama Justice Department breathing down their throats. I mean, I could see the professors just howling over this. This and a lot of other things too. I mean, a lot of stuff that Obama does and doesn't do is really outrageous. And to people that are progressive socialists, particularly the elite, educated progressive socialists, they look at this stuff and just howl, laughing. You're listening to the Trailer Park Prophet. My name's Daniel Gray. We're broadcasting live on Blog Talk Radio from beautiful downtown Crestone, Colorado. You wouldn't believe how beautiful it is. It's cold, but I'm telling you, Crestone, Colorado is so gorgeous. And you know what? I think I might take off a little early today. I'm right in the middle of a big project. I'm putting in a wood stove, so I'd like to get that in before the sun goes down and it starts getting 20 below or whatever the hell it is, 9 below. I don't even know how cold it is, but it's cold, trust me. So the Trailer Park Prophet is in the middle of a job right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and quit a little bit earlier. So maybe I should move on real quick. We did the knockout game. Let's see here. I'm going to start at the top. I had a lot of really good stories, and if I don't get in the really big stories, then I'm going to be really disappointed in myself. All right, let's see here. One of these little posting things with the pictures. It shows a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Muslim men walking down a street in, I believe, England, and it says that these guys are all on welfare, and that's one of the things that is going on with Islam, is they move to other countries and then they get on welfare and they have a bunch of babies. Which reminds me, maybe we should get right to something right now. Oh wait, here's a fun story. Let's do a fun story. All right, this story comes from Collective Evolution. How about that? Collective Evolution. And it says the law of biogenesis states that life cannot be created from nothing. It is always life that creates life. The profound statement can begin a series of questions into the scientific unknown relating to who and what created human life, which in Latin is called Let's see. Imnu venum ex vino. All life is from life. That's so beautiful. I just love that. But if that's true, then we now know the answer to which came first, the chicken or the egg. And if we go by this Greek adage, omni vibram ex vino, all life begins from life, then the chicken came before the egg. How about that? In 1952, German physicist, Professor W.O. Schumann of the Technical University of Munich began attempting to answer whether or not the Earth itself has a frequency, a pulse. His assumption about the existence of a frequency came from his understanding that when a sphere exists inside another sphere, there is an electrical tension that is created. Since the negatively charged Earth exists inside the positively charged ionosphere, the inside, there must be tension between the two, giving the Earth a specific frequency. Following his assumptions through a series of calculations, he was able to land upon a frequency he believed was the pulse of the Earth. The frequency is 10 Hz's, megahertz, or I don't know what that is. I guess it's not megahertz. But anyways, we're at a frequency, you probably know what this means, of 10 Hz. I know some of you people are out there laughing, but alright, anyway, it wasn't until 1954 until Schumann teamed up with another scientist, Herbert Koenig, Koenig, and confirmed that the resonance of the Earth maintained a frequency of 7.83 Hz. 7.83 Hz. The discovery was later tested out by several scientists and confirmed since the Schumann resonance has been the acceptable term used scientifically when one is looking to describe the measure, the pulse, heartbeat of the Earth. I love it when they call it the heartbeat. So anyway, it goes on in this story, and you can go to my Facebook page and look it up, or I'll give you the title again. But the question is whether or not individuals are in tune with the Earth's pulse, and they're suggesting that if you are, then there's going to be a lot of advantage to your mental health and physical health. But it's important, this article suggests, that we as human beings are in tune with that pulse, that we're in rhythm with that pulse. Anyways, that's their claim, and I thought it was kind of interesting thought. And again, the title of this is Experiment Proves Why Staying in Tune with the Earth's Pulse is Key to Our Well-Being. And you can go to my Facebook page, Trailer Park Prophet, or you can go to CE Collective Evolution. Let's see. We don't have time to go into this story, but this is a pretty interesting story. Fast and Furious whistleblower, Obama's FBI key and border agent Terry slain. And what this is talking about, this border agent, Terry, let's see, yeah, I can't remember his first name, Terry. He was killed. He was a border agent, and he got killed by weapons that were being smuggled into Mexico from the U.S., and it was a program started by Obama. It's called Fast and Furious. Well, these guns ended up in the hands of drug runners, and these guns didn't even have the tracking mechanism so that the FBI and the border agents would have the luxury of knowing where these guns are going. In Mexico, generally, that would be the goal of a plan like this. Bush had a similar plan called, let's see, what was that, Wide Receiver, but they tracked the guns. But Obama has the same kind of program, wasn't tracking the guns, and some of these guns wound up killing this Brian Terry, border agent, and some at least 200, 300 innocent Mexican civilians. But at any rate, there's people that have stayed on this story, and of course the Obama administration wants to sweep this underneath the rug, and the media, the lamestream progressive socialist media, won't report on it. But it's a scandal, and people are dying. And you can go to Pat Dullard, The War Starts Here. She has I think it's a she, has a really great website. And here's a little bit here, just a little excerpt from Arizona Central. Federal agent who exposed the Justice Department's flawed gun trafficking investigation known as Operation Fast and Furious says the FBI played a key role in events leading to the 2010 murder near Nogales, Arizona, of U.S. Border Agent Brian Terry. John Dobson, a special agent with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, contends the bandit who killed Terry were working for FBI operatives and were sent to the border to do a drug ripoff using intelligence from the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration. I mean, this sounds like James Bond stuff. Quote, I don't think the FBI assets were part of the ripoff crew, Dotson said. I think they were directing the rip crew or the ripoff crew. I didn't even know they're involved with stuff like this, man. This is just out of hand. See why we got to do away with the war on drugs? It's stuff like this. We're spending all this manpower and money on a drug war that is never going to be won. It's ridiculous. It's like we're maintaining this drugs to be illegal just so we can continue this war on drugs, so we have more people in jail, so we can pay for more jailers and jail psychologists and jail It's just ridiculous. It says Dobson comments to the Arizona Republic amplify assertions he made in his recently released book, The Unarmed Truth, about the role as a whistleblower in the Fast and Furious debacle. Terry belonged to a elite Border Patrol tactical team sent to a remote area known as Peak Canyon, roughly a dozen miles northwest of Nogales, where violence had escalated because criminal gangs were stealing narcotics from the drug runners known as mules. He was slain in a shootout with several bandits. The assault-type rifles found at the scene were subsequently traced to Fast and Furious. But the assertion here is obvious that the FBI was involved in trying to steal drugs from drug cartel members or drug cartel mules. I mean, it's just unbelievably weird. Why are they running those kind of operations? They should just shut down the border. They should build a fence like they promised they were going to do under Reagan during the last time we did immigration reform. That was part of the deal, that we were guaranteed a big-ass fence that went the whole distance down the Mexican border, but they haven't done that. And so we're still having these drug wars, and we're still having all these immigrants pour into the country, and it's by design. It's not by accident. It's maddening. You know what I mean, man? Alright, we got to start into this story. This is kind of wonky, but you got to know these numbers. I got this from the Heritage Foundation, and it was posted today. Your Money in Pictures, the top 5 charts of 2013. Article written by Michael Sargent. As part of our countdown to the new year, here are Heritage's top 5 must-see charts of 2013. Number 5 is a typical family. What if a typical family spent money like the federal government? While middle-class families are still plagued by sluggish recovery in the Obama economy, this is what their finances would look like if they spent money like the government, and it's not a pretty picture. Most families understand that it is unwise to constantly spend excessive amounts compared to what they take in, but the government continues its shopping spree on the taxpayer credit card with seemingly no regard to the stack of bills that is already piled up. So, what if a typical family did spend money like the federal government? All right. The median family income in the U.S. is $52,000. All right? $52,000. Median income for the average family in the good old USA. If they spent money like the federal government, they would spend $64,000 a year, which would mean they'd put $12,000 on the credit card every year. Despite already being $312,000 in debt. So the average family income is $52,000. If they spent like the government, they'd be spending $64,000, which means that they'd be putting $12,000 on their credit card while they already have $312,000 in debt. It doesn't really sound as bad as I thought it would. All right, Obamacare's barrage of tax hikes. Now, this isn't good. You're not going to like this. Remember, President Obama's promised that you would not raise taxes on the middle class, much like his pledge that Americans could keep their health insurance. This turned out to be another promise Obamacare was bound to break. As this chart shows, tax hikes included in Obamacare are huge and pervasive, amounting to hundreds of billions of dollars in new revenues. Since this chart was published, new numbers for Obamacare taxes have become available, and the study by Heritage Aileen Singer shows that Obamacare will impose even more taxes, amounting to a whopping $771 billion in new revenue just through 2022. 10 years. And I've heard numbers that are a lot bigger than that. When you start bringing in the fees and the fines, and it's going to be more than that. Obamacare barrage of tax hikes. Obamacare imposes numerous tax hikes, which total more than $500 billion over 10 years. Obamacare higher tax rates on income and investment will slow economic growth, leading to hardworking American families and businesses worse off. And let's see here. These are all the new taxes. Okay, this is in a bar graph. Now, this year, or no, because remember, Obamacare started collecting taxes before they did anything. So, in 2010, they did 0.1 billion. 2011, 9.8 billion. 2012, 12.4 billion in taxes. Now in 2013, this year, they've already collected, these are all new taxes, $37 billion. Next year it'll be 42. Now the big jump is in 2015 after Obama's gone. It goes up to $62 billion. And then in 2018, they're going to be spending $91 billion or taxes, new taxes, I'm sorry. And that's a year. In 2018, we'll be paying, I hope I'm still paying taxes, $91 billion in 2018. And then it goes up, and then it starts going up exponentially. In 2019, we're going to be paying an additional $101 billion in a year. Sequester cuts only 2.5% of spending. All right, by the way, this is Daniel Gray. I am the Trailer Park Prophet, broadcasting live from beautiful Crestone, Colorado on Blog Talk Radio. This is Local Friday. Muchas gracias for being here. I really appreciate it. We're going to cut the show a little bit short. I got to put in a fireplace. I want to be warm tonight. So please bear with me. As it turns out, sequestration isn't much of a meat cleaver after all. We've talked about this a lot. While the sequester is imperfect mechanism reduce spending as the burnt of the cuts fall disproportionately on defense, it only amounts to 2.5% reduction in spending over 10 years. That's the sequester, 2.5%. And that's a cut in the rate of increase. Nothing's getting cut. Although everyone will be telling you that it is getting cut, which is a lie. Alright, I don't know. Just unbelievable. Okay, where did your tax dollar go? 45% went to entitlements. 45% of your tax dollars, 45 cents on every dollar of your tax dollars goes to entitlements. Medicare, Medicaid, health care, and Social Security. 19% goes to national defense. 19% income security for veterans benefits. Wow, I didn't know that. 19% of every tax dollar goes for income security veterans benefits. And then 6% of the budget now goes to pay the debt service on the national debt. 6%. 6 cents on every dollar goes to pay off the debt. Interest. That doesn't mention premium. Not premium, but principal. Each American share of publicly held debt is skyrocketing. As Washington continues to spend dramatically more than it can afford, every American will be on the hook for increasing levels of debt. Without reining in spending, the amount of debt per citizen will skyrocket. And like right now, it looks like in 2012, every man, woman, and child in the U.S., if they had to evenly pay back the debt, which they don't, would have to pay $36,267 for every man, woman, and child in the U.S. of A. And we have 313 million people in the U.S., so every one of them, if they could come up with $36,267, then we could pay off the national debt. Now, the question is, what is that going to be in ensuing years? And in 2020, that's pretty recent, it's going to be about $60,000, double the amount for every man, woman, and child. And in 2030, it's going to be up to over around 95,000 in 2030 for every man, woman, and child. And then in 2036, it's going to be $135,547 for every man, woman, and child. $135,547 for every man, woman, and child in 2036. And this chart doesn't give you an idea. Well, I don't know how this chart was put together. Now, I'm assuming this chart was put together with our super low interest rates. So if interest rates were to click up even 1%, 2%, 3%, this chart that I'm looking at now, which is basically a hockey stick going up since Obama, is going to even have a sharper incline. And right now, it's almost a 45. So we're on the pretty serious path, I think. All right, enough of that. I just thought that's kind of good economic. Oh, did you hear this? Another bombing of a Christian church again in Iraq. 38 dead. The strike was in, I don't know where it was at in Iraq, but it killed 38 Christians, totally ruined their church on Christmas Day. I don't know that we have any details I don't know. I haven't heard. Oh yeah, there were other instances on Christmas. That's right. There were some instances, I believe, in Israel. But this story is from CP World. At least 38 people are dead and 60 wounded after 2 bombs went off on Christmas Day in Baghdad. One exploded outside a Catholic church as members of the congregation were leaving a Christmas Day service, while another bomb killed 11 in a market in a Christian neighborhood. And I'm trying to see, this was on Reuters. Reuters is about the only news service that will report on bombings. The lamestream media just not about to do it. And it looks like it says they target you like they target us. There are people in this country who believe that anyone who has a different opinion should be killed, said Al Haikram, as quoted on Reuters. We are partners as targets. We have partners in this challenge, and we will remain partners in confronting extremism, violence, and terrorism. I mean, they're gonna keep their resolve. All right, I'm hearing something playing in the background. What is that? What is that? Oops. Ah, shoot. I just screwed something up. All right, I want to do one more story, and then I'm going to leave you with a song. One of these nights. Oh. All right, everybody, have a good weekend, by the way, in case I forget to say that. I want everybody to be happy. I'm pretty happy. Things are going pretty good for me. A lot of people are really being nice. I'm very grateful. Oh, okay, now this, and I know I talk about this a lot, but I want you to remember, keep this always in mind. We were just talking about those graphs, the breakout of the $17 trillion national debt. Remember, we still have unfunded liabilities, like Social Security, like Medicaid, Medicare, fireman's pension, veterans pension. And as it stands right now, those unfunded liabilities of the federal government are $195 trillion. $195 trillion. And this picture shows it as the iceberg. I mean, the tip of the iceberg is the 17 trillion we just talked about, where every man, woman, and child is on the hook essentially for $35,000. Well, underneath the iceberg is the bigger part of the debt, which is the unfunded liability, which is $195 trillion. And it's what you can't see that can kill you. And here's one of my friends. He says something, man. People get into this political stuff a lot of different ways. And my friend Justice, he was looking at this same chart that I was telling you about, or this picture of the glacier, and he says the 95 trillion in unfunded liabilities is an enormous problem, but it is nothing compared to the 2.1 plus quadrillion derivatives bubble. When that thing starts to burst is when you need to be afraid. It has the potential to crash the world economy and start World War III at the same time. Now, I mean, that's going to an extreme, but there's a lot of people that have that kind of thinking. All right, this is probably the most important story of the day. I was really surprised about this story, and actually I think we're going to probably get into this a little bit more on Monday when I have more time. This story is, and wait, maybe I have time to do this video. I really like this video. All right, let me set this up. Maybe we'll end on this story. All right, this story is infiltration of Islam in America, and it shows the outline of America. You know what that looks like, and it has the Sharia flag in the middle of it. And Obama authorizes an additional 80,000 Muslims to enter the country. And I want to do this. I'd love to do this whole story, but we're not going to have time to do that. But there is a video that I want you to listen to, and what this does in a very succinct manner explain to you what's going on in this country as far as, or what's going on in this world as far as reproduction rates. And you need to listen to these numbers. It'd behoove you to understand these numbers. You need to understand these numbers, and you need to understand the situation that we're in right now. The Muslim religion is about ready to take over France, take over all of Europe, and as this article suggested, Obama is allowing 80,000 new Muslim immigrants into this country. And I'm telling you, this is how they want to take over the world, how radical Islamists want to take over the world, and it's just by overpopulating the world. And this video will give you some insight into what these numbers are, like the replacement rate and how a society can vanish if you don't have enough replacement babies. And I would just like to have you just concentrate and listen to this video. All right? Here you go. This video illustrates the most elusive and dangerous method of Islamic infiltration into the United States today. The global culture our children inherit will be vastly different than what it is today. You are about to witness a report on the world's changing demographics.
According to research, in order for a culture to maintain itself for more than 25 years, there must be a fertility rate of 2.11 children per family. With anything less, the culture will decline. Historically, no culture has ever reversed a 1.9 fertility rate. A rate of 1.3, impossible to reverse, because it would take 80 to 100 years to correct itself, and there is no economic model that can sustain a culture during that time. In other words, if two sets of parents each have one child, there are half as many children as parents. If those children have one child, then there are 1/4 as many grandchildren as grandparents. If only 1 million babies are born in 2006, it's hard to have 2 million adults enter the workforce in 2026. As the population shrinks, so does the culture. As of 2007, the fertility rate in France was 1.8, England 1.6, Greece 1.3, Germany 1.3, Italy 1.2, Spain 1.1. Across the entire European Union of 31 countries, the fertility is a mere 1.38. Historical research tells us these numbers are impossible to reverse. In a matter of years, Europe as we know it would cease to exist. Yet the population of Europe is not declining. Why? Immigration. Islamic immigration. Of all population growth in Europe since 1990, 90% has been Islamic immigration. France, 1.8 children per family. Muslims, 8.1. In southern France, traditionally one of the most populated church regions in the world, there are now more mosques than churches. 30% of children ages 20 and younger are Islamic. In the larger cities such as Nice, Marseille, and Paris, that number has grown to 45%. By 2027, 1 in 5 Frenchmen will be Muslim. In just 39 years, France will be an Islamic republic. In the last 30 years, the Muslim population of Great Britain rose from 82,000 to 2.5 million, a 30-fold increase. There are over 1,000 mosques, many of them former churches. In the Netherlands, 50% of all newborns are Muslim, and in only 15 years, half of the population of the Netherlands will be Muslim. In Russia, there are over 23 million Muslims. That's 1 out of 5 Russians. 40% of the entire Russian army will be Islamic in just a few short years. Currently in Belgium, 25% of the population and 50% of all newborns are Muslim. The government of Belgium has stated 1/3 of all European children will be born to Muslim families by 2025, just 17 years away. The German government, the first to talk about this publicly, recently released a statement saying, "The fall in the German population can no longer be stopped. Its downward spiral is no longer reversible. It will be a Muslim state by the year 2050. Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya said, "There are signs that Allah will grant victory to Islam in Europe, without swords, without guns, without conquest. We don't need terrorists. We don't need homicide bombers. The 50+ million Muslims in Europe will turn it into a Muslim continent within a few decades." There are currently 52 million Muslims in Europe. The German government said that number is expected to double in the next 20 years to 104 million. Closer to home, the numbers tell a similar story. Right now, Canada's fertility rate is 1.6, nearly a full point below what is required to sustain a culture. And Islam is now the fastest growing religion. Between 2001 and 2006, Canada's population increased by 1.6 million, 1.2 of those immigration. In the United States, the current fertility rate of American citizens is 1.6. With the influx of the Latino nations, the rate increases to 2.11, the bare minimum required to sustain a culture. In 1970, there were 100,000 Muslims in America. Today, there are over 9 million. The world is changing. It's time to wake up. 3 years ago, a meeting of 24 Islamic organizations was held in Chicago. The transcripts of that meeting showed in detail their plans to evangelize America through journalism, politics, education, and more. They said, "We must prepare ourselves for the reality that in 30 years, there will be 50 million Muslims living in America. The world that we live in is not the world in which our children and grandchildren will live." The Catholic Church recently reported that Islam has just surpassed their membership numbers. Some studies show that at Islam's current rate of growth, in 5 to 7 years, it will be the dominant religion of the world. As believers, we call upon you to join the effort to share the gospel message with the changing world. This is a call to action.
Because we are losing the war of the womb, we Christians need to increase our efforts in evangelizing the Muslims. If we fail to win within Christ, then our descendants will be condemned to live in a Islamic society. All right, I know that's kind of a downer. Again, I'd like you to go and check this whole thing out. There's a lot of language that I'd like to have you read. You can go to my Facebook page, Trailer Park Prophet or Daniel Gray. The article is Obama invites 80,000 Muslim immigrants into the United States, promises them $100,000 per year. And this article is written by a man named Gil Gutnat and Dr. Paul L. Williams. And I'm going to read it again. It was published on WordPress.com, and it's a very chilling story. And there's two videos actually, that you can see. Another one is on population and what America can do by allowing people to immigrate to the U.S. And it basically points out that if you want to stop pain and suffering, you can't take a million new people every year, because it's only a drop in the bucket. Something like 85% of people on planet Earth live on less than $2 a day. So there's no need to bring that poverty here. We need to help them where they are. And a lot of our immigration policy takes the cream of the crop from all of these third world countries, and those are the important people that their society would need to save themselves. So we're doing more to hurt these countries by allowing them to immigrate. You know what I mean? The people who are the most affected by poverty in third world countries don't have the intelligence or the means to get themselves in a position where they could immigrate to the U.S. You see what I'm saying? Or that's what this other video is saying that I want you to check out. And we're doing more harm than good by allowing these people to immigrate into the U.S., because they should be in their own country, making their own country a better place. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Drizzle, drazzle, drizzle, drone. Time for this prophet to go home. We'll see you on Monday. We'll do the full show. I just had to get out of here early to take care of some personal business. Again, happy holidays. My best to you and yours. And we'll be seeing you real soon.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.